Hello everyone. I wanted to come on and make a video about something very personal to me, and that is my colon cancer journey. Now, I'm going to start by saying I had one of the best outcomes anybody could ask for in that situation, but I wanted to do just a small series with a few quick videos in case it can help somebody else or help a caretaker. I don't know. Just going to tell my story and hope that it can help someone. Anyway, basically, in 2020, I turned 50, and I was told at a yearly, visit that I needed to have a colonoscopy, just age-related colonoscopy. And I didn't want to do that. So I asked, what are my options? What else can I do besides that? Is there some other kind of blood test or something? And they said, well, you could do Cologuard. And if you don't know what Cologuard is, it is a test you do yourself at home, and you have to use the bathroom. And TMI is going to be a lot in this video. I'm going to turn on the air. Hopefully it won't be too loud. So you have to go to the bathroom, and then they give you a scoop and some bags and some liquids, and you have to prepare, your stool in these containers, and then you mail it off. So I said, okay, send me that. But I didn't want to do it. I was really kind of squeamish and grossed out at the thought of doing that. So I just set it in the closet and did nothing. That happened to be a time in my life when I thought, in the best shape ever. I was eating healthy. I was watching what I ate. I was counting calories and trying to lose a little bit of weight. I wasn't obese by any means, but I wanted to lose, a little bit, maybe 10 pounds. And then as the months went by, I suddenly had lost like 25 pounds. And if I can figure out how to pop in a picture, I'll do that. And so I lost like 25 pounds, but I was just super proud of myself. I was going to the gym and, like I said, watching what I ate. But then all of a sudden I started, my very first symptom was constipation. And I've never had a problem with that, like daily going to the bathroom. So when I didn't go for a couple of days, I was like, well, that's weird. Let me change up my diet a little bit. And then I went to the bathroom at some point, and I saw blood in my stool. Not pouring out of my butt, nothing crazy, just some actual, blood in the stool. And I, for probably a month or two, told myself it's hemorrhoids or, it's nothing serious. Like, no part of me ever thought it could be something serious. So there was one final time where I went, and it was more than any other time. And I said, okay, I'm going to do that Cologuard test, which is kind of dumb because Cologuard is just looking for blood in the stool. And I already knew that I had blood in the stool. So I kind of felt like it was going to come back positive, and it did. So now the journey starts. I got an appointment with a GI doctor. My primary care, said to go. We talked about all of that, and he said, yeah, let's do a colonoscopy. I was scared to death, but let me tell you a little bit about that. You go in, I'm sorry, let me start over. Boop. Maybe I'll edit this out. I don't know if I'm good enough at editing to figure that out. Basically, for a colonoscopy, you have to do a 24-hour prep, and sometimes longer. If you've been constipated, but you have to clear out your system. So you're not eating any solid foods, you're drinking clear liquids. You can have like Jello, you can't have like red or blue, but you can have like lemon. I can't remember if you can have orange. And you can have broth, preferably clear broth, like chicken broth, chicken stock broth, I don't know. And you do get pretty hungry, and everybody says that and you're taking laxatives, tons of laxatives during this 24-hour period. And everybody says that's the worst part, and I guess it is, but I didn't have a problem with it. I've had 4 colonoscopies now. One time, the prep was magnesium citrate, and I didn't mind the taste of that. I was able to get it down pretty good at first, and about 3/4 of the way through the bottle, I got really nauseous and just could not even move, and just, I had to call it quits on that prep, and just whatever happened was going to happen. Otherwise, it's just like Miralax mixed with, sorry, I'm also postmenopause, and I have brain farts all the time. Miralax mixed with like Gatorade or something like that, or you could do it with water. Drinking that and going to the bathroom and all that. All right, nothing to eat or drink day of. You go in and they sat me in a room in a chair. They hooked up an IV, and when it was my turn, they put me on a, rolling bed thing, and they put whatever they put in there. And I just remember different times, different things happening. Sometimes it's count backwards from 10 and you get to 9, and the next thing you know, you're waking up. They say it's light sedation or twilight sedation, but I have zero memory of any part of the actual procedure. So the first one, I go in, I come out, and I remember him saying, even though it was a little woozy afterwards, like mentally, not physically, you had one polyp and like another little something, and, we took a sample, we're going to do a biopsy. Well, I was not scared at all. I did not think one thing about that. I did not Google it. I did not research. I didn't ask any questions. I just went home. And I think it was 1 or 2 days later, they called and said, we need you to come in. And I said, for what? And they're like, to go over your results. I was like, well, I'm pretty sure you told me if the results were fine, I wouldn't need to come in. So now I'm scared. And she's like, well, when can you come in? We'd like for you to come today. Dropped everything I was doing. I will never forget it. I was babysitting my daughter's dog, and I had to call her at work and tell her I was leaving. We wanted to be with her. She was a puppy, and she was just adapting to things. Anyway, so a friend of mine met me, and we got in the car, and we sped to the office, and man, the doctor was so kind, and he was so apologetic, and he's like, in all my years of practicing, I've never had to tell someone your age that, we found cancer. And so the problem was, because he didn't think it was going to be cancerous, and he told me this, he did not get a good sample. Like, something about the margins, he did not scrape all the margins and get everything out. So he was concerned that there could still be some cells in there or whatever. And so he basically told me, you need to find a surgeon. They're probably going to take out so many inches of your colon. Like, he's telling me all this stuff that's completely foreign to me, and I'm still in shock because he found cancer, in that polyp, and something about the margins, and I'm still trying to digest. And he's telling me to find a surgeon and, what they will probably want to do. So I just leave again in shock, came home, told my family what I could remember, and then the journey started. And basically from there, I'm watching this girl in the parking lot. She's got her dog, and he's not cooperating. Anyway, and so from there started the search for a surgeon. And he gave me a few references. I decided not to do any Googling. And I didn't really Google. I'm going to think it through before the next video to try to remember when I started looking, because I didn't for a long time. I just did what he told me and started looking for the surgeon. I made my first appointment at Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, Florida. I'm sure if you're here because you read cancer in the description, you're probably familiar with Moffitt, especially if you're from this area. Very well-renowned cancer institute. And so my first appointment was there, and I am just going to end this video by saying it did not go well. And I am not downing Moffitt. I personally know people that is where they go, and that is where they get their treatment. But my first visit with the surgeon did not go well. So I think I'll end this here to just not make the video too long. And, in a few days, I'll post part 2, and we'll just do it in several different parts. But anyway, I'm pretty new to YouTube, so forgive me if I'm moving around or doing something crazy or sound weird or whatever. I wanted to document my story, which does inevitably have a happy ending because I'm still here, and this happened 4 years ago. So, it does end with a happy ending. But if there's any questions I can answer for you, or if you've just found out that you had some you just had some polyps removed and they found cancer, or didn't. I'm no expert, but I would be happy to answer anything or provide support for people who came here for the same reason that I'm making this video. So thanks for watching, and I hope I see you next time. Bye.